Baughn with JHSTheWarning, and we're here again interviewing Coach Randy Coleman. Thank you so much for being here.
Thanks for having me.
Well, today's game is our first home game of the season. So how excited are you to be playing at Cooksey John tonight?
Well, we're really excited. Anytime you're at home, you have a little more juice. Just the crowd and the energy of the crowd. The kids feed off of it, and the guys are really excited about being home. Another chance for us to, put our talents on display for everybody, and hopefully, rebound from last week's loss.
Absolutely. Well, I know everyone's super excited to be there for the first home game. But going from a tough loss in week 2 to week 3 playing the Little Rock Catholic Rockets, what has been your message to the team?
Well, really just to get back to some of the basics. I think, winning is great, but sometimes when you win consistently over a period of time, you get a little lackadaisical, maybe a little complacent. And I think we did that. And we came out really flat last week against Conway in the first half. So we changed a little bit what we did in practice, did a little bit more good on good or ones versus ones in practice. So we turned up the heat a little bit, and the kids responded well. So hopefully we'll get that kind of complacency out of our system and get ready to play what's really a good Catholic Rocket team. So
absolutely. Well, talking about the Conway game, tell us what players stood out to you.
Well, in week 1, the on offense, the running backs really stood out, and the receivers had a rough night in the rain. Last week, I thought our receivers played a lot better. Jake Slayton had a good night. Tate Lutz had a good night receiving. But probably offensively, Noah Gatlin had his best game as a JHS Hurricane. And then defensively, Dwight Starks played really well along with Zane Neves. And then special teams-wise, I thought Garrett Childers had a good night. Punting the ball especially, he had 2 punts of over 40 yards. Kickoff was good. In those 3 phases, I think those are the guys that really played well.
Well, that's awesome. We can't wait to see them on the field tonight. But how do you make a rebound from such a disappointing loss?
Well, you have to not take anything for granted. Kind of as I mentioned earlier, I think that we got into kind of a lull last week, and anytime you play a good team and you don't take things real serious, you could struggle. And Conway exposed a bunch of weaknesses, and we had to go and get back to the drawing board and fix those weaknesses. And we think we made an attempt to do that. We'll see what happens, but we got a tough task ahead of us this week. And the worst thing about losing in a football game is you have to wait a whole week to play again. Whereas some other sports you may have to wait just 2 or 3 days to play again, and we had to wait a week. So hopefully we can get that bad taste out of our mouth, playing in front of the home crowd, and hopefully it'll go well.
For sure. We hope to see tonight's game go a little bit better, and we know that the Hurricane can do it. Well, tell us a little bit about Sammy Johnson. He's one of the best players that the Hurricane will face this season as a running back, a cornerback, and on their return guy. So tell us, how do we plan to handle his talent?
Well, I don't really know yet. I mean, we've got a plan A and a plan B defensively. He's a really, really good player. Last year as a sophomore, he rushed for 2,000 yards. He had 500 yards receiving, and that's really hard to do. We've never had a guy do that. And, you do the best you can to keep it away from him in special teams. If we kick the ball or punt the ball to him in our special teams, then somebody's going to be in trouble. And then, defensively, you just got to slow them down, not let them make the big run against us, and try to hit them as much as we can, and hopefully, wear him down by the second half. But he may be the best player we face all year. He's really good, and we've got our hands full. And we've talked around the office this week that I don't see how there's not, you know, a bunch of colleges recruiting him. I think he's underrated as a player, and but we hope we're not the team that he makes a big statement against.
For sure. Well, I know that he's a great player, but I also know that the Hurricane can take it. Are there any changes in your lineup going into tonight's game against Catholic?
Yeah, there are a couple little changes. You know, trying to recover from the loss of Logan Orr. You know, we made some changes last week, and we're going to tweak it again. We had moved Zane Neves to safety. He'll move back to kind of his natural position at linebacker. But we move him to the Sam linebacker and move Colton Foster inside to the Mike. And Colton, you know, is probably our best defensive player, our leader anyway, our quarterback on defense. That puts him in a position to kind of get everybody situated defensively before the snap, and Colton will do a great job with that. So that makes Eric Odie come in at safety. We've also worked some guys, Tate Lutz, Chunky, or Deshaun Fountain, who play receiver. They'll work in the secondary if need be. Offensively, you may see a little more of Charles Mabry, a junior who is a tight end. You know, we're not taking Jake Slayton out of the mix, but we definitely will, you know, see Charles in there occasionally. He, you know, had a touchdown Monday night in the JV game, and we think he's going to be a really good player.
Well, we can't wait to see all the older players and the newer players that will be on the field tonight and taking on Catholic. So, Coach, good luck tonight in tonight's game,
Thank you.
We can't wait to watch you.